on Sarangantika from Lavington SDA Church. I remember many years ago, I talked to your ambassadors during a CAM meeting. And maybe some of you were there or you were not there. If you are ambassadors, then you are now the senior youth of that church. And it's a privilege to talk to the youth, particularly these challenging times of the corona pandemic and many other challenges the youth are facing. I feel that today being the starting point, I'd rather engage you by asking you, what are your expectations from this man this evening? I don't know whether we are still in touch.
Yes, Elder, we are in touch.
Yeah. Yeah, what are your expectations?
So, someone can just go on. You can just raise your hand, then you speak, or you can just speak. Ruth, what is your expectation?
Thinking now that we have never been able to meet physically since this COVID. My expectation is that we may have something close to the experience we used to have in church when we used to meet together physically, that we can be able to interact positively here and grow each other. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to a nice series of interaction in matters spiritual growth.
You talked about spiritual linkages amongst the youth. And that fits very well with the challenges the youth are facing, Christian youth are facing at this time. And remember, we are talking about Christian youth. We are not talking about any other youth. We are narrowing down to maybe to the Seventh-day Adventist youth. What are the challenges that they are facing at this moment in time? Leave alone the corona pandemic, but many other challenges that they are facing. So she was talking about there's this problem of social distance. It has moved now from social distance to distance from amongst members of a church like you, where you don't interact like you used to interact, where you cannot share the things that you used to share, the context of highlighting and telling one another the opportunities that are rising and so on. So I can understand that that can be one of the key expectations that under the circumstances, how do we keep ourselves alive in the context of encouraging one another Seventh-day Adventist young members of the church? Thank you. Next, another expectation.
Myself, this is Rogers.
Rogers.
I expect to know how my brothers and sisters have been coping up with the pandemic during this time of pandemic. So I just want to know if there's somebody who is not doing well, or the challenge probably they have experienced personally.
Yeah, you know, the coronavirus has brought about a new normal, as they called it. A new normal in that people fear one another. They fear even to share information. I remember recently I went to an office. Then I was asked, "Sir, where is your residence?" And I said, "Nairobi." That was down in Kisii. And the lady was taking the details, ran away. And I was rather scared why she was running away. But I realized because I said I am coming from Nairobi. So even amongst the youth, there's this fear of the unknown. So sometimes one wants to know, how are those other youths coping up with, the segregation that is inevitable from other members of society? That's a very good expectation. And any other? Since you are more than 7, I expect more than 7 expectation. Hello? Let's go
Hello.
on. Yeah,
Hello.
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 Can you hear me?
Welcome. Yeah.
My name is Tambo.
Yeah, Tambo.
Yeah, my expectation is how as a young person you can grow spiritually, like how you can improve your spiritual faith. How is that? I mean, I just want to have the concept maybe of how we can improve our spiritual life during this time.
Yeah, that's like one can pose a question: is Christian growth possible under the present circumstances, where you may not be able to get others to share, to encourage you, to challenge you? How can one grow? And in any case, how can one get to know that they are making strides in their Christian life as young people? That's a good question. It's a good expectation, Tambo. Any other?
I've thought of another one.
Yep.
That I hope to learn, or even I believe we all want to see how we can actually grow together using every other means possible. For example, now we are meeting in Zoom. How we can overcome the rigidity of feeling as though we miss going back to church, but how can we still be closely knit family despite the fact that we are physically
you're not able to meet physically, but you want to challenge one another. How can one do that in the present circumstance? Keep one alive, and you can only be active and felt, loved and challenged spiritually when there are these interactions with others, not necessarily physical interactions, but what other ways can we as young people keep ourselves alive by interacting using the social media, and how positively can one use the social media for encouraging another spiritually? Thank you. That's a good one, my daughter. Next.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
This is Sheila.
Yeah.
My question was about, these times when there's a lot of idleness. I wanted you to help us understand how to overcome temptations, how to stay strong, how to practice self-control. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a major challenge. How to overcome illness and maintain high moral standards and feel self-worth in a sense.
Yes.
If we can talk about this a little bit before we move on to the next expectation. You know, when you know the several writers, N.G. White says that an idle mind is the workshop of who? The devil. An idle mind is the workshop of the devil. How can one, like here in Nairobi, keep themselves busy and go beyond being busy, because you can be busy doing the wrong things? How can one keep himself or herself busy doing the right thing that in a way contributes to the spiritual growth of that given individual? At the same time, how do you keep away from negative influence? How do you keep away from friends, colleagues, fellow Christians who pull you away to go into the wrong pathways of your walk while you are a young person, and a young person with expectation, a young person who wants to feel like they are loved, a young person who wants to feel like they belong to a group, a young person who feels like they are making contributions. So how can one do the same? And you know, this reminds me of what the Bible says, and asks, how can a young man keep himself secure? And you know, the same Bible says that a diligent mind will enable a young person wade through the murky waters of life. And then the same Bible says that the same young person will stand before kings by keeping their ways righteous. And you know, it's not human power. Paul says that our righteousness is like filthy rags. Whatever we try to do, we cannot perfect our ways and feel that we've been able to walk with Christ. We always come short of the glory of God. It's only Christ in us who can enable us wade through these murky waters of life's challenges. Because when you have nothing to do, definitely the devil tells you there are these alternative ways of engaging yourself. And you know, it's not like in the context of a farm where you can walk and feed your livestock or go to the horticultural garden and do something small. There's every temptation that one can want to be engaged on things that sometimes are misleading. I was talking to my children and was saying, this is the very moment where you require to engage yourself with the professional courses, even not necessarily professional courses that you can do online. You may be an engineer, you may be a social worker. Why don't you pick up a course online that engages you throughout the day, throughout the evening? You have hardly any time to walk about. Yeah, it requires a little bit of money. Some of these courses, they are worthy to to invest in. You do professional courses, several. I am an environmental scientist, but I'm as good in environmental science as I am good in social studies. I have done several courses on social studies. I can do what we call poverty diagnosis and mapping, come up with strategies of how to address poverty, because I invested in studying and doing professional courses outside my line of training. So a young person who is facing challenges of being idle should go beyond the course they are doing, the class they are in, and they engage themselves if they can afford, if they can be supported by parents to do a course online. And if those courses cannot be done online, there are people here who are mounting courses that you can do for maybe participants, about 7 participants, who can keep the social distance in a given training venue. That can augur very well for a young person to engage themselves on something that is beneficial in their life, in their social life, their professional life, at the same time create more opportunities for that individual. Start somewhere. If you cannot do a course online, go to some of these firms and ask to be engaged on a voluntary basis. You work for them on a voluntary basis, but you are engaged. Some of them can offer to pay you for a lunch and transport. Some of them may not offer those provisions, but they can give you some form of an engagement where you are learning something at the same time you are keeping yourself busy. That is possible to keep yourself from feeling like you have nothing to do. And it's when somebody feels like they have nothing to do that somebody passes by and tells you, let's have a walk. And it's through such walks of idle minds that one gets a way to do things that are contrary to their feelings and to their strong Christian values. Any other expectation? Nyareso, I don't know whether I've got Nyareso's expectation. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Elder. I can hear you.
Hello, yeah, Nyareso, let me get your expectation. Hello?
Nyareso, are you there?
As we try to get Nyareso, maybe we can briefly address one of these expectations, spiritual growth. When, if I may share my experience, when we were told that we keep off the offices and work from home, I felt like I should use this opportunity to do something on reading the books, revising some books of the Bible that I've gone through. So I picked the book of Isaiah, and I was studying, picking several reference materials on the book of Isaiah and looking at the old lesson materials, the Bible commentary, and developing a case on that book of Isaiah. I was able to divide that book into themes. The first part of that book of Isaiah talks about God complaining. He complains about the Israelites whom he had given a special assignment to be of influence to the surrounding nations, the nations that they had conquered through God's guidance. He gave them everything, taught them over the 40 years in the wilderness, and gave them special privileges and assigned them a spiritual role on what he had equipped them. But when they went to Canaan, they again turned and started worshiping the idols, the gods of the heathen nations. Then God laments. He even gives an example of a vineyard. He says, my vineyard, I picked the best seed of the available material of the vineyard, the vines. I watered the vine. I gave them foliar feed. I gave them top dressing. I thinned them. I removed the bad branches, and I expected my vines to do very well in terms of production and yield. And yet, they never yielded the fruits. Then in short, he turns around and says, you, Jerusalem and Judah, come and listen as we debate. What more could I have done to my people? And you know, this is the same question I'll ask that I'm a young person in our church. I've been equipped. I've gone through the children's department. Maybe my parents were good enough to bring me through that process, went through the ambassadors, and now I'm a senior youth in the church. When I'm expected now to be yielding fruits of the investments my parents have made, I disappoint myself and I disappoint my parents through my way of living. And this is why this question is good, that how can I keep myself growing spiritually as a youth? A story is told of a pastor who was too busy preaching and he never had time to eat. This went on for years until this man became sick and he was admitted. When they did the evaluation, they found his problem was malnutrition. And the doctor recommended to him, please have time to eat and eat these following types of food groups. The pastor went, he tried a bit, and then he reverted back to his old ways of having no time to eat. When he went back, the doctor told him this simple thing: Pastor, if you have no time to eat, then you have time to die. So the same thing I can tell to the youth, that if you have no time to be with God in terms of reading his word, in terms of investing on your spiritual growth by reading the spiritual books that are available, which can enlighten you more on understanding the larger light, which is the Bible, then you have every opportunity and every reason to feel like you're not making strides in your Christian growth. So invest privately in reading, and occasionally through your WhatsApp group, through your Facebook, engage your fellow youths. You know each one of your colleagues who are good in spirit of prophecy, who are very good in Bible reading. Engage them in a discussion on what you have read that you feel you need to be more amplified by somebody else who has a better understanding, or who can also do much research and then get back to you with an enrichment. So for one to grow, they need to have time to eat. They need to have time to feed on the word of God. And that is not just for the youth, for anybody who professes to be a Christian. I need to read the Bible to grow. Every other time you read the Bible, you get new insights. If you read John 3:16 today, and you read it, or you go to a church and somebody preaches about the same verse, you'll go get some more light from this other person. So make cross-reference of the materials available to understand some of the concepts that are in the Bible from some other perspective, from other writers in the Bible. So invest on wide reading. I was expecting Yareso to give another expectation as we move on. Or somebody else, if not Yareso, somebody else. Are we still there?
Yes, I think Nyareso has a problem with the microphone.
Yeah.
She's trying to, but she can't be audible.
Somebody else then? As we wait, there was this other expectation. We can address it as we wait for any other expectation from you. There was this other expectation about how to worship. Before we were getting, afternoon programs for the youth in churches. And it is not possible when you are given 1 hour of worship and you all go home. And for safety purposes, you must go to your home where you can stay safely. Then this expectation is addressing this beyond the church engagement, now that it is not visible, now that midweek programs are not there, Sunday programs are not there for the youth to meet together and encourage one another and worship together, maybe have a sermonette from somebody. How can we do the same? At this very moment, we are in linkage through Zoom. The same can be done. I happen to have been at home, and when I was at home for the last 3 months, I was able to engage with my children because I traveled for a funeral, and while there, Nairobi was locked out of every other place. So I stayed home, and I had to get in touch with my children here in Nairobi. And at least to feel like we have that touch, apart from phone calls, we decided occasionally in the evening we can talk online by Zooming, and we could have it all. We could read the Bible. We have an encouragement on, we ask one another, how was your day? What are the challenges you are facing? How safe are you in your workplace? How are you protecting yourself in either when you are traveling, when you are engaging, and then we could share experiences of how we have navigated through. And that was the initial stages. So that has kept us going until this lockdown, partial lockdown was opened, and I was able to travel because I was on my way to Ukunda the other day. And when I flew back to Nairobi, I said, we'll engage with these guys now on face-to-face basis. Because you know that I'm still scared. These guys are here in Nairobi. They can easily finish me if at all they are positive, and I'm negative from the rural area. But these are my children. If they package me to the next world, it is them who have packaged their father. So how can you feel like you are worshiping together as a youth group in that new setup of Kileleshwa? You can use the social media that are avenues that are available to you, and engage one another in a Bible study, engage one another in prayer, engage one another in sharing your experiences, and so on. So it's possible to worship using these available avenues that I've mentioned above. Any other expectation? So we move on. Maybe as we try to move on, there's this challenge that I've come to know. My daughter was telling me that several of the youth in our church, Lamington, in the last 2 months, have been posting information on selling the things that they have, and some are heading home because either they have lost a job or it has become impossible to pay the rent. I know one youth who could not be able to pay rent where they are staying. They could not also be able to pay rent for the premises where they had a cyber camp. And the youth decided to go home. And I felt that was a good decision because it's for a short time. It's not good to go through torture and suffering when you can easily go for a small period of time at home, at the comfort of your family, to go through this period as we see how the Lord takes us through the coronavirus. And I believe that once we are through with this corona pandemic, the new normal may bring about new opportunities for our youth. Remember, my sons and daughters that I'm talking to, we worship our Lord who is larger than the challenge of corona and the current social setup. We worship a God of opportunities, and we worship a God who is concerned about his children. When he says, before you are formed in your mother's womb, I knew you, I knew you. You know, that is too particular. It is not talking about pluralism, that everybody is talking about you as a youth. He's talking about Alpha, he's talking about Nyareso, he's talking about Paul, he's talking about David. He knew me, he knew you personally when you were just a full stop. A full stop is what the size of your mother's ovum was. That God knew you before you became anything. Then he says, I have good plans for you. Sometimes, people ask, where is he when I'm facing challenges? I can't get a job, and others, those who don't seem to have a purpose in life, they're evil in their ways, they seem to have a nice time. That is, as David says, but for a short time. And my sons and daughters, we worship a God who has opportunities for us. So long as we can hold on him, he will see us through this period of time and provide for us an avenue to make a living, And I'm talking about Christian young people, committed Christian young people. We worship a God who is concerned about us. He'll see us through, right? Let's move on to some other expectation as we build our case for a short discussion this evening. Someone else? And by the way, I don't know whether we are still there. Are we there?
Yes, we are here.
Yes.
We're there. Good. Is everybody back?
Yeah, Nyareso can now speak.
Oh,
Okay.
good, good.
I'm sorry, guys. I think I had a problem with my mic, but I am now back. I just wanted to say that a lot of my expectations have been mentioned by my colleagues, and maybe as we go on, I'll just think of another one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the the other thing is, how do we, under these circumstances, the challenges that the youths have in the secular world are almost the same as the challenges a Christian youth faces. You want to start something small to support yourself financially, then the question is the capital. How do you raise capital? How do you get started? And from what source? Um, how many youths know how to prepare a good proposal to get support? How many youths know how to prepare a good business plan? Something that can engage you. You know, like the first expectation of idleness, I sometimes remind myself of what I've seen the world over. I've gone to countries that I was puzzled on how people are surviving. I was in the streets of Accra, Ghana, and the youths there were smart enough. They load their mobile phones with airtime, and they come over to the streets when there are jams all over. And of course, I know the provisions that are there. People can easily buy airtime and so on. But these guys could come to a matatu, and then they ask the occupants or whoever, anybody wants to have their mobile loaded with airtime, and the people in the matatu will say how much, maybe 50 bob, 100 shillings, 500, and so on. Then these guys will load the airtime to these people, and then they are paid. They are given the cash. I went to Swaziland. In Swaziland, it was a funny scenario. The young people there had cooked rice and cooked chicken in polythene bags. Of course, NEMA has banned the use of polythene bags. But they had these things cooked. Then they come over to a bus, and once you are in the bus, they give you this cooked stuff, and people would buy food and start eating in a bus stage. Of course, in Kenya, we are a bit cautious of that kind of behavior. We can't do that. But I'm trying to give you opportunities in China, and these things happen where there's a traffic jam. In China, it was a different scenario. They come with the small cakes. They come with the donuts. They come with the donuts. They come with the banana crisps. Then they give people, because people want to manage boredom in their cars and so on. So these kids pass with they're dressed neat in white overcoats with these foodstuffs. And within a very short time, you see somebody has sold the crisps to several cars, because you are in a jam for 1 hour, 2 hours, and it's hot. Some have water, and some have juice. Like now, people are very fond of lemon these days. If one has lemon juice mixed with maybe honey and so on, and then they have a thermos, and they have this thing, and they walk around this cold condition with this fear of flu and whatever, You will find people taking your hot lemon. There are opportunities, but how many of us are humble enough to do this in the streets? They say it will be seen by so and so, and I'll be the talk of town. You know, you are trying to kill boredom, killing boredom at the same time creating an opportunity to make a living, right? Not necessarily every other time you want to go somewhere, you don't have something to do, you're not employed, and you're borrowing money from your mom, from your dad every day, every morning and every evening. That reduces your chances of engagement, and that reduces your chances of even getting to know what's going on. So be active. It's not good to be reactive to situations. It is good to be proactive. Be creative, be innovative in your thinking. And of course, pray about opportunities to avail themselves to you. And in the midst of healing, Sister White says that many people don't get to work not because there are no opportunities, but because they don't take opportunities which come by. And once they come to wake up, those opportunities are already taken up by other people. So it's good to be proactive, and once you are proactive, you can be able to get to know what's going on. In your social network, in a WhatsApp, please highlight what you have seen that is interesting. You know your colleague has done ICT, another one has done maybe something on social studies. You read an article in the papers, you get to hear somebody talk about this. Take their contacts and highlight it to your colleagues that can you be willing to do some part-time work or be used as a statistician by somebody who's collecting data that can engage the individual for a time being. And the many students who are now doing their PhD, the PhD programs are still going on online, and even there's research out there, they're still doing it, so you can get to know what people are doing, even the church. The old people who are in school, get to know what they are doing and ask them, what can I do for you? Can I be your data collector, raw data collector? Go out with the questionnaires and fill up those questionnaires, apply the questionnaires. You are learning something. At the same time, maybe as the student has got some stipend, they will pay you something small. So try to be interactive. And as I said, proactive, not reactive. Reactive in the sense that, oh, this thing has gone, so and so is doing something. You know, it's good for some people to laugh at you that you don't seem to have direction. That's why you are selling airtime. But when they get you moving about, occasionally you may sell airtime to a person who can engage you for a better job. They'll ask you, you look neat. How comes you are selling airtime? Have you gone to school? Then you introduce yourself, you say, yeah, I went to school, I've done a BA in economics. I know of a youth who was selling sugarcane, and in his speech, he was fluent in English, and he was selling this to an engineer. And this engineer asked him, young man, you talk as somebody who has gone to school. Yeah, I've done, I said computer science, yeah. And can you see him on Monday? That was a Thursday. And this guy was engaged. Proactiveness pays young people. That's one thing that I can share with you this evening. Proactiveness pays. So be proactive. Be in the market. Be in the marketplace. But don't cheapen yourself by being in the market. Give yourself a value, right? Yeah, give yourself a value. Handle yourself, walk with the dignity. Yeah, as a child of God, you know, when the Bible talks of a royal priesthood, sons and daughters of the king. When you are a son and a daughter of the king, you are a prince and a princess. I did not know the value of being a son or a daughter of a king until I went to Thailand. And one day, the princess was coming to the university where I was doing some course for the graduation ceremony. And we were told to carry our flags from all the countries that were represented in that university that year. So we stood along the university way. This lady, the princess, was to come the following day. The night before, the streets were cleaned with water and a detergent. The night before, just for the princess to pass. And I thought that she would be walking on foot while coming to the graduation square. Instead, this lady comes in a Rolls Royce, and this Rolls Royce was heavily guarded. She was just standing in the Rolls Royce and waving. And I know she never saw my flag from Kenya. I was disappointed because I thought she would walk on the ground. That's when I came to know how important it is to be a princess. How much more on you and me when we are called sons and daughters of God. We must stand ourselves with the dignity to qualify for that title of sons and daughters of God. Some more input? Please continue engaging as I get some material briefly here. Get some material here briefly.
Hello, people.
Hello.
So I have some inputs, which I think, or rather, I hope that people may actually contribute. I personally think somehow this season has really drifted most of us apart. For example, people like me, I think this is the first time I'm really joining up to Zoom for a very long time. But Zoom is besides the point. So I think we can think of ways to take advantage of this season, is in as much as we are not able to actually meet, we can think of ways to do more of these things, for example, or some other things that we can think about. And that is, I think, I wish that some people can contribute on how we can draw together again before Corona away anytime soon. So we need to, in which we can take advantage of this time. For example, I have seen the way people have taken advantage of social media so much this season to be able to others for us. We can see how we can use each other in boundaries.
Can I make an observation?
Sure.
Yes, please.
I think at a personal level, for me, I'll speak for myself. Probably this has been one of the busiest times in my, more like professional life. Now, close for me the door. The reason why it becomes busy is that it became an opportunity to also tap into some of the things that I had been suspending for a long time. So a lot of new skills have been learned during this time. I know how to make graphics, make the posters, graphics design kidogo. So I'm able to. I used to rely that somebody has to do it. You know, in some way it used to look like it's something sophisticated. Somebody has to do. But now with a few minutes, I'm able to do a poster. You know, I picked up a sport and became very, very aggressive because I had the time. So I've kind of picked up a new sport. You know, there are calls for proposals that are very COVID focused. I'll give an example. Is that I've been running one program, and because we've done very well, the donor called us yesterday and said, "I'd like to discuss with you guys. I'm adding you guys 20,000 euros because of you know, the way you guys are doing it and the direction it's taking and so forth." So, and they said specifically because we see the challenges of COVID, we think you can do a good job if you advance this idea in a certain direction. I have seen business ideas that have emerged as a result of COVID. Not supplying, you know, soap or a hand sanitizer, but in terms of the digital world, there are some businesses that make more sense now, and they are really, really low cost. Certain skills that you can pick up and commercialize them. So I'm kind of echoing what Elder is elaborating, and then picking up on what Ruth you've just said about how do we support ourselves at this time to build certain skills and capacities, and how do we strengthen each other? Now you have to be very deliberate. For me, I'll give an example. You've just illustrated that during COVID, okay, you've not been able to engage and so on and so forth. I would tell you that the first 1 month or so COVID or two, I was preaching almost every other week. Because all of a sudden I realized that, hey, now I have an opportunity to study and organize myself, and we were just preaching to ourselves here on Zoom. And then at some point in time, we said, okay, now let's start growing this, let's attract other people. And all of a sudden we learned how to stream and how to integrate, you know, technologies, things that I don't think we would ever have had a chance to do because there was nothing pressing us to do so. So in other words, all I'm saying is that the season provides an opportunity to build new skills and tap into new opportunities. But then we have to be deliberate. I can almost count, since COVID started, I have only worshipped in maybe 2 online congregations other than Kileleshwa. Every time I'm about trying to say Kileleshwa. And here is the reason why I'm trying to do it. We can collapse it. I mean, we say the seasons are bad, this thing is difficult, we are just so few, so we can't survive. Kila mtu sawa ningie kitandani. I log in onto one church and I log into another one, and okay, fine. Maybe I catch up with old friends. But remember that if today I got married and I went to my own house and then it starts leaking in the roof, I don't go back to my mother. I have to figure out how to seal that roof. And that is a skill that I developed for myself, because I wouldn't be taken care of my mother for all my life. This becomes an amazing opportunity to test my capacity and my endurance. How can I make something better out of the current situation? How do I convert lemon into lemonade? Who do I need to talk to? All of a sudden, I discover that I can talk to someone new. What is life whenever we face certain challenges like this, if it is not about developing our endurance and then converting the tough times into something meaningful? I have started a business, for example, during COVID, and it is extremely profitable. I mean, it makes a lot of economic sense. And it only made more sense because it was COVID. And now I'm even putting more energy around it and effort around it. So it's an encouragement I'm giving, that there are opportunities. We might look back and say, oh, those were tough times. Okay, the tough times are over. So now let's get up. What were we doing? What are we supposed to do? No. I think we should be saying, COVID is here. What is the best that we can make out of ourselves? And who do we need to talk to? how do we organize ourselves and support each other? How do we create forums like this so we can, enrich ourselves? For example, somebody can come here and say, if you want to grow in your social media network, this is what we can do. We can have a forum like that and discuss. How can we, for example, develop, what kind of business models can we develop now that we are in this kind of seasons? And you discover you have some ideas that are low cost that we can tap into. So I'm kind of giving an encouragement and say, we've got to be deliberate. Otherwise, times will pass and we have not changed much. And we can say, oh, no, it was just a season that was bad. Now we're trying to wake up. By the time you wake up, other people have already gone.
Thank you very much. I wish you could carry on. And I need to dig into the 20,000 euros, or was it dollars?
Yeah. I could go on, but I was just taking advantage of your absence and following up a comment that a colleague made, to build up on that momentum.
Thank you. That's very good. That's like a live example when I talked about proactiveness, and then I said that let's see beyond Corona, COVID-19. It's going to avail opportunities, young people that were not there before. It should bring up an awakening in us as Christians, an awakening in that people are saying Corona will come and go. Supposing it doesn't go soon, how will you make a living? How will you make a living out of this? Corona should, on one hand, be a challenge, but on the other hand, it should be able to provide new opportunities, like my brother said, of looking at business opportunities. What business opportunities that are there? Like I mentioned at the beginning, that you young people are smarter than I am. You can easily go to the internet, be able to go to the internet and download several donors. There are several donors in the context of donors who support young people on education, donors who support young people on business, donors who support individual groups to work with the communities they want to maybe support you to work with the orphans, support you to work with the people who don't have enough food, people who are malnourished, places like the informal settlement that we have here in Nairobi. Go to these places, go with your mask and whatever protection that you need from Corona. Find out what you can do with and for the people of an informal settlement like Kibera, and use that opportunity now to develop a business proposal on what you can do with them. At the same time, you earning some money to support yourself as you work with the communities. And they have mentioned that he's learning new business skills. You are like that you are in a time where everything is online. You can study business plans online, how you can convert, an opportunity of selling passion fruit. I was giving a young man an example of how you can package passion fruit. Don't package passion fruit and sell it like any other ordinary person in the street. Talk about, I have natural purple passion fruit, good for immunity development, known to safeguard against attack by flu. And people are crazy about such kind of innovative ideas. They are crazy about things which can address the challenges they have. Like this period is when we have this flu, so when we have Corona, which is a relative of the normal flu that we know. So if you can bring a product that will alleviate the challenges people are facing, that can get an itch and give you something to keep yourself busy with. You know, when the Bible talks about ego, it is one animal that when you read, it is peculiar trait. You challenge yourself that an ego is able to reach a point in time where it must make tough decisions. Like when the feathers have grown old, the peaks are now blunt, the claws can no longer hunt. The ego must go to hiding and pull out the old feathers, cloud the claws on a stone, sharpen them and have blood oozing out of the peak, out of the feet, but it will heal at some point after maybe 90 days. And after that period of 90 days of treatment and healing, the ego can live for another 30 years, a new lease of life. How many of us will come out of Corona stronger? We can only come out of Corona stronger as young people when we invest our time and resources on useful activities. And these useful activities can only be identified by engaging with people, talking with the people, visiting people. If the offices that are open where there are people are running offices, engage people, talk with the people, find out how people are living. You see somebody every other day going to some place and they coming back. They don't look sad, they look happy. Find out if they are selling eggs, if they are selling watermelon on the street, how are they being able to reach a market when people are scared of Corona? Talk with the people, engage with the people. Don't keep off from talking with individuals, because some people have information that you don't have. And this is why, as I said at the beginning, it's good to keep our social networks alive. Let's get to know the mobile numbers of our youth, what they do, what is their professional background, what are they currently doing, how are they coping with the situation now. Maybe what they are doing can be replicated in your case. It can be improved by you, or they have improved what they are doing, and if you apply the improvement that they have done to their case, it can uplift you out of the challenges that you are currently facing. I think this session was supposed to be an introductory kind of a session. It was not to be one way, in the sense of, you are expecting the speaker to have everything for you. If you are talking about challenges of Corona, the challenges of Corona are new to you as they are new to me. I've never experienced a Corona epidemic before. I'm experiencing it for the first time. The same with you. So we are all facing this challenge together, and whatever way that you are coping up with that I can replicate and use in my life, the better for me and the better for you. Some other expectation or contribution, Rogers?
Thanks, Elder. I think to me, I will just give an addition of what I've experienced. At the beginning of the year, of course, we didn't expect Corona. At the beginning of the year, we had a sense Corona can come into Kenya, but I had very big expectations. In a startup that I started late last year. But because I was getting items from China, it meant that I had an option of not because even the flights had stopped. I had an option of not trying at all. But what I did is that I went ahead to risk just sending money, that they send goods. But the effect is things takes like 4 times longer to arrive to you. So personally, I've grown, let's say I've grown that business, but with patience. It teaches me to be patient with things, and to trust that the Lord is leading.
Mm.
So if any of the youth has something that probably they planned to do, don't lose hope, don't stop if you can try. Just try it, be patient, and with God's blessing, things may work all your way.
You know, the part that I talked about, the ego, it invests on waiting. If it strikes a rabbit the first time and the rabbit runs to the hole, it never gives up. The ego goes to a nearby tree and waits. It can wait for 3 hours. No, the ego is not distracted by another rabbit running across. It focuses on that one rabbit. And in business endeavor, there's that need to have single purpose to succeed. Single purpose to succeed. Be patient. Whatever you have invested, be patient enough for it to start yielding fruits. And sometimes it may take time longer than you expected, but be patient. Don't wander from here to this without purpose, you know. Broaden up the scope in the sense that you are trying A, B, C, D all over, and with the hope that you will succeed in everything. At every single moment, have a focus, have a priority, and the issue, the business idea you have given priority, do a very good study, and by doing a good study is to engage with the individuals who have been there before you and get ideas from them. Now they have succeeded, and that's what you are trying to share with us this evening. I don't know whether Tambo is there. He's still there.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, please. Want to hear your wonderful voice.
For me, it's a bit. I'm looking at all this situation a different way.
Yeah.
Well, I value so much when it comes to socializing with people, creating a good communication with each other, and mine is to understand the fact that you need to you need to be able to adjust to challenges that come your way. And these challenges can either break you or they can make you stronger. So, in my opinion and in my experience, I've come a long way when it comes to some of the challenges that we face, the challenges that I've faced, and I've come to appreciate the fact that all this is just a lesson for me to learn, and also be able to learn how to withstand some of these problems that come my way. I value a lot my value comes in when it comes to socializing with people, talking to people, and trying to understand other people from where they come from. And I have to say that I won't stop learning to know so many things that come my way. I won't stop learning to understand the situation at hand. So in short, I have come to appreciate everything that I've gone through as a person, in terms of the challenges that I may have faced, and it comes to even the basics of socializing with people, or for my academics or professional life, or my professional life. That makes sense.
Yeah. And you know, when we talk about the challenges that you are facing, and
Sorry?
when you talk about the challenges that you are facing, that is common to everybody. And the key thing is sharing. The key success story to facing challenges is sharing. I normally advise youths to, if you are facing a challenge in your academic life, maybe in your business life, you may not necessarily go to a person and say, I am running this business and it's not working. I want you to advise me on how I can be able to come out of this challenge. You can use a third party kind of scenario. Say, I have a friend, he's running this kind of business and he's facing this type of challenges, A, B, C, D. How can you advise this individual? You're talking to somebody so that if you feel like you'll be ashamed, they will be advising you in the sense of a third party. But that information is to be used to buy you. And that can now, you can go think about it, go to another individual, come up with a list of opportunities or a list of ways of solving the problem, and then be able to address the challenge that you're facing as an individual with confidence now, having built it from the advice you've been given. That was a good one. Who haven't we got here? Have we had anything from Ruth? Yeah, we did at the beginning. But maybe now with this discussion, any further light, Ruth?
We learned many things this period. Yeah, one of the things that I've really learned can be summarized in this point that God never wastes any crisis, and so they always come so that we may get out of such situations better people. And yeah, I have really learned many things. For instance, I've got enough time to exploit certain skills that are swept under the carpet. So I've been able to like revive them, realizing that you have a lot of time. You can really waste it or you can really use it well. And those are some of the things that I have learned. And another one that I've learned is that I have been able to learn some resilience, let's say, not giving up because you're in a certain situation and resigning to fate, but trying to get a solution to that problem. So you get yourself in a crisis or in a difficult situation, you do not just sit there and wait for things to just work out, but you try to do something to solve the problem. Yeah, those are some of the things that this period has taught me. And maybe my encouragement to us all is that we should see God in this. We should not look at the picture without God in it. So when we look at it that way, then we know that God wants us to learn something from the whole thing. He's not just because nothing has happened that just caught him by surprise. He was already aware of it, and so he wants his people to exploit every opportunity that they can get, even in a critical time like this one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what Ruth has said reminds me of a story of somebody in the Middle East who used to be growing wheat every year. And this man was a committed Christian. Each year when he could harvest his wheat, he'll sell, and a portion of it, 10%, he will return toward a faithful tithe and give also offering. One year, the locusts, like you saw recently, they came and they cleared all the wheat in that given community, including that one of the Christian. And the fellow farmers who are not Christians turned on him and were enjoying him and say, you said you are a partner with God in your wheat farming. How comes your wheat was cleared as this one of ours, as who are not as good a Christian as you are? I like the answer this Christian gave to the fellow farmers. he told them this: we are partners in my wheat farming with God, and God is the major shareholder, is the chairman, and is the CEO of our farming wheat. And I have also come to the understanding that God is the owner of the locusts. And he says in the Bible, look at the birds of the air. And the birds of the air, they include also even the locusts. They never have a sinister meeting to discuss on how to eat, on how to grow wheat in a given year. But they have a portion of food every year that God provides. If this year God decided to feed these locusts, whom am I, a minor partner, to complain to the chairman and the CEO who decided to feed these locusts? That year, this man grew rice in the same field, and he harvested tenfold, and the tenfold harvest was a witness to the goodness of God. We worship a God who is bigger than our challenges. So long as we make him a partner in our daily undertaking, be it in education, be it in business, be it in our workplace, we may be facing challenges in our workplace. We don't even know whether tomorrow we shall be working there, but there is a greater God who is larger than the challenges we face in the context of addressing our challenges before we even know, so long as we make him a partner. And this is what Ruth has said, that she has learned to persevere. She has learned to hold on tightly, even when the challenges seem to be great. And that would have been my take this evening to you young people, that make God a partner in the present circumstances. Bring God closer to you, make him a partner, and you run safely through the challenges of the moment. I have somebody, Beatrice Vigay.
Yes, I'm around.
Yeah, Beatrice, some contribution from you?
I've learned much in trusting God from your sharing today.
Mm-hmm.
She just joined.
She just joined.
Yes.
Remember our clarion call at the very beginning? Do you see a young person diligent in their ways? The same shall stand before kings. Diligent in their ways, diligent. A young person who makes the right choices, a young person who walks with the right people, individuals who encourage them in their spiritual warfare, individuals who uplift you. Remember when Moses was lifting the shepherd in the wilderness, his hands could get tired, but Aaron was there to lift his hands up as he was praying for the Israelites. So we need people who can encourage us in the challenges of the moment. Please, as much as possible, be friends with everybody, but try to keep individuals who discourage you at arm's length. Maintain some social distance in the context of friendship with individuals who discourage you, individuals who talk negatively about your endeavors. Take up time with individuals who encourage you are doing well. Even you, be a source of encouragement. When you find your friend is doing some business and they are saying they are facing challenges, find out ways. Go do consultancy for them with somebody else. Seek ideas on their behalf, and of course, come and advise them. Please go and try A, B, C, D. When they succeed, that is your success also. Be happy when your colleagues succeed and be supportive. And of course, as I said, make partnership with individuals who are positive. Avoid partnership with individuals who are negative. They discourage you, even in your Christian growth, you will not make any strides as a young person. Uma, we lost. I don't know whether my sister Alpha was still there.
Hello.
She looks like she's there.
Hello, I'm still there.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm Sheila.
Yeah.
Is my mother. Yeah. So I learned how to trust God, especially in times of when I'm faced with temptations. And I learned that I can't do this alone. I can't face temptation alone. I'd need the help of God. And I have to be more prayerful, even more during this time, and develop an even stronger relationship with God. Yes, and other than that, keep busy, follow up on programs, any courses online, just find new ways to keep me innovative, to engage, to be more a more resourceful member of society. Yes. So thank you.
Yeah, we mentioned that at some point that please widen up your scope of understanding, widen up the scope, go beyond your professional training.
Yes.
And one of my elders has talked over here and said that he's doing a new thing. And the new things that he's doing are even opening new opportunities. I've met individuals who wanted to be medical doctors and they never ended up in being doctors. They ended up being other things. They're still whining and complaining that they wanted to be medical doctors. You know, if you wanted to be a medic, then God decides to make you a teacher. Make the best out of being a teacher in class. Enjoy yourself. The ego I talked about, when it hunts, when it gets the rabbit and tears apart the rabbit, when it goes flying up, an ego always looks forward to challenges. When there are storms in the air, that's when the ego enjoys life. It flies on top of the storm, gets into the storm, comes out the storm, comes downwards like a bullet, and then turns upward like a jet, a fighter jet. It enjoys life. But you find that majority of young people, they are toned down, there are certain expectations, and when they don't realize the expectations that they have in life, they get discouraged. They age so fast because much of their time is spent on complaining, wondering why they are not successful. They went to school with some individuals who have already got better jobs. The better job for an individual may appear to be good now, and if they have no God in that job, they are going nowhere. They are like the dew of the morning, as David says. So as you walk with God and He gives you any given opportunity in life, make the best out of it.
Yes.
Leave it to the best. Give it your best shot, and you come out satisfied. The best thing in life is to have a job satisfaction. It's not just the pay. That I'm getting a 6-figure pay. That's the satisfaction that a job gives. No, there's much more in life than a pay slip. There's much more in life in the context of the satisfaction, in the context of having peace of mind, in the context of making friends where you're working. You can be earning all the money in the world, but you have no friends where you're working. How will you feel each and every morning when you are going to that office discouraged? And when you go to the office discouraged, your face wrinkles up, your muscle tear up, because your hormones are ever up there for a defense mechanism, and that ages you pretty fast. So That was a good one from you, that you have learned on how to make God a partner. You have learned on how to develop new ways of sharing with other people. Better. And of course, don't close yourself. As a young person, share out something new that you have got. And I want to repeat it, as I said before. Any opportunity you get which may not be applicable to you, but it's applicable to a colleague of yours, don't sit on it that they are going to be better off than you. You may assist them today, and tomorrow they will assist you. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, verse 1, the wise man talks about throwing your bread in many waters. Yeah, he says, throw your bread into many waters. And you know, you young people today, you have grown in a time where bread is available everywhere and you don't value it. When we grow, bread was scarce. And you could value, if you are given a piece of bread, you bite it and you take 1 hour eating a slice. How sweet that was those days. I don't eat bread anymore. I have lost the taste for bread. And I'm even surprised that even my children don't have the eagerness to eat bread as we used to when we were young people. And you know, that's how important bread was. And if you could tell somebody those days to throw away that bread and it will come, you know, the Bible says, throw your bread into many waters and it will come back floating to you. Does bread float when you throw it to water? No. Sucks into water and disappears. What the wise man is saying, share the best you have with others. And on your way up, when you share with the people and you build yourself, if they grow faster than you to greater position, they remember you. If you get challenges, like now Corona's brought challenges, you don't have a job. You know, some of your friends whom you assisted can turn around and say, you have not paid rent? I'm paying rent for 3 months as you wait for things to turn around. That's investing. And that book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, I'd rather leave it for you that throw your bread, share the best with other youths. And you can use this social media, share the best in terms of opportunities that are available to you. And you know, that's why it says that the same book of Ecclesiastes, remember thy creator in the days of, what does it say?
Remember you are
In the days
created.
of your youth.
Remember you are created in the days of thy youth, before the bad days come, when you have no interest anymore. You know, do you know Corona has put some people in difficult situations that they cannot serve God? If they didn't use the opportunities they had before, now this is a time when it's very difficult to serve. This is when you want to do crusade, you can't go out there. So the opportunity God has given you as a youth, use it to the best of your abilities to assist others. And in so doing, you will have invested in a future where you can also be assisted. That has always been my take in life, to always share whatever best I find that can assist a colleague, can assist a friend, a relative to climb up the ladder in their social life. Whom are we lost? Let's not lose anybody, please. Let's have somebody talk if you're not talked. Remember, this is our premier program, and in our premier program, we like to hear every voice, so that our further engagement in future, even when we are allowed now to come face to face, we can, have heard your voice and know your expectations from, and know what good we can get out of you. Like when I mentioned about using young people, when I have contacts for young people and I get an opportunity, I normally say, please, I'm sending this young person to you. This is a young person I can count on. They are morally upright, they are honest and accountable. You can give them any job they can do for you. You be sure that they'll do a good job. I like to have that kind of an engagement. And I cannot build trust and that reputation for you unless I get to know you. And amongst you, build that kind and level of trust. Build that kind of moral uprightness, right? Some people think that when you are a Kileleshwa youth, that's where it ends. Your life goes beyond Kileleshwa. Maybe some of you are not married, and you want to be engaged and get married in the future. It is true that the youths that you are with, either they can get married to you or they can link you outside, that you can build up a network that is useful to you. Network, positive network. I always say the best cow one can buy, if you want to get the best cow for milk, the best cow, it is not what you buy in the market. The best cow is your calf today. If I want the best cow tomorrow and I have a young calf, if I take care of it, feed it very well, nurse it very well, nurture it very well, I'm sure of a good cow tomorrow than one I can go to buy in the market. The owner can tell me it gives 30 liters per day, but maybe it is only for 3 months. I'd rather get a cow that gets 15 liters per day, but you can milk it for 10 days. So even you, the best youths should be from our church. And who can build those best youths? His fellow youths, and be in touch with your elders and mamas for counseling. Seek good advice. Seek good advice. There's nobody who can grow to be the best in an island. The best comes out of social interaction. The best comes out of interacting with the people who have been there before you. And respect the advice of those who have lived before you. If they have swum in Lake Victoria, they know where the water is deeper. They know where the water is rough, so they can advise you. That's why you need to take advantage of the older people in your church, the older people in society. And they can only open to you, they can only pray for you when you are respectful and when you are honest and morally upright. And that's a value. Somebody can ask you, what drives you? What's your value in life? What do you value in life? Is it money? Right? Do you value Christian virtues more than you value money? Or is it the other way around? And when the Bible says, seek the kingdom of God first, and all these things shall be added to you, is that when you invest in God, God has every reason of trusting you with wider responsibilities and investment. And they will sail with you when we are going through a scourge like the corona, when we are going through a difficult periods like now, when the economy is not working very well, when challenges are there. Those of us who are working, how sure are we that if this thing goes on, we will still continue getting a salary? From where if there is no revenue? So, but with God, God will see us through. So young people, make God a partner in everything that you do, and He will see you through the challenges of the moment. That's key. Make God a partner. Not just to say, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist youth, but through practice, through prayer, through your lifestyle, through the kind of people you work with. And as I mentioned, at all times, work with the people who encourage you. Work with people who can point out to you the wrong you have done. You know, I like the way Nathan went to David the king. He didn't tell him, King, you have sinned. He used an approach we use in social life, the questioning technique of making somebody answer. You know, if you go to a Maasai home and you ask Maasai man, how many cows do you have? If you escape to be speared, the room will get you. Because when you ask a Maasai man how many cows he has, the thinking in that man is that you want to know the number so that you can steal his cows. But if I want to know how many cows a Maasai man has, I'll ask him, Mzee, do you milk any cow? Do you have any cow that are in the calf? No, that kind of a question that do you milk, Maasai will tell you, of course, I'm milking almost 200. And I have two that, I mean, I have 150 which are due to calve, and so on. He's giving you information. If you go to a marketplace and you find men seated, and you ask one man, Samuel, do you have a radio? Any man will tell you they have a radio even when they don't have. So when you are smart in your questioning technique, you ask, Samuel, did you listen to the 9 o'clock news last night? You know, this man will tell you, sikusikia hata hiyo. In fact, hata radio sina. You know, he has not lost any mark as a man by answering your question that was not deliberately challenging his manhood. So in our life, as youths, we need to build confidence, and we can only build confidence by getting the right information and by being widely read, and by making God a partner. Making God a partner in our undertaking. Hello. Are we
hello.
somewhere in our starting point? Yeah, so you are trying to be online?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay, so my fellow colleagues have talked about a lot, and just to add, at the beginning of the year, a lot of us had a lot of expectations, a lot of resolutions and achievements to make by the end of the year. Let me just speak of myself. I had a lot of things in mind to finish school and what have you, but as we just kicked off the year, boom, we had Corona. So and most of us were now thinking, what is going to happen? Schools have been closed, and as Corona came, maybe some of us who have businesses and jobs, they lost them, or the businesses went down. But I tried to think to myself and related to the book of Isaiah, where the Lord tells us that your thoughts are like my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways. And now I was asking myself, okay, this now makes sense. You see, we had a lot of plans, maybe to finish school, maybe at the end of the year, most of us wanted to be at a certain level of their career or anything else. But now Corona is here, and okay, we can't really achieve what we had planned. And now I thought to myself that in as much as we as human beings, we plan and put things and set dates of things, but the only person who has the final say is God. And if we have a good relationship with him, we'll know that we should put Christ in and see that this is God's will. Sometimes we might think that God, I mean, how is even Corona a blessing to us? And some of us have we no longer go to school, we no longer do our businesses as usual. I mean, and to tell someone at Corona is just a blessing, maybe in disguise, you'd never know. But my thinking is that whether we have Corona or not, whether we have any other pandemic, I am not sure if this is the last pandemic. We never know, because we're in the end times and anything could happen. So I just think we should have a firm foundation in a way that whatever comes our way, we should just see Christ in it. We should just say that, God, this is your will for us, and move on. Yeah.
That we totally surrender our will to God. We surrender our will to God, because as he has said in the book of Jeremiah, he has good plans for you and for me. Plans to prosper and not to destroy. Plans to prosper. Remember, there are reasons why this Corona came. And as you said, if you are planning to finish this year and you are seeing good opportunities, maybe God did not see it the way we see it. These are not the best opportunities. You may come to finish later, and you'll be surprised that you will come out of college and you go straight to a workplace rather than finish and you don't know where you are heading to. So God's plans are better for us at all times. And then we learn to trust him. Like a child learns to trust the parent. And I remember my young kids, wherever I could play with them when they were tiny enough, throw them in the air and hold them as they come down. The first time they felt like they were dying, I was committing murder. But when they got used to the safety in my hands, when I threw them up, they laugh and they smile and know that everything will be fine. How much more does God want to trust us like an infant child trusts the parent, that everything is safe in his hands, everything is safe in his plans. And as you have said in your result, when we leave everything to him, he works out the best for each one of us. And as young people, my client call is, let's trust God, that anything that happens, the challenges of the moment, they are but for our own good, for one reason or another. And he will work out the best for us, that we surrender our will to his. And that's why we always pray, let thy will be done. Let thy will be done on this, even on the Corona pandemic.
Maybe I can give some kind of final remark as we transition to closing, now that it's already heading to 7:15.
Yep.
That we've been seated for a while. Some of us started this at 8:30 in the morning, and now we kind of had a whole day. So first of all, thank you. I initiated this, and we spoke with Olfa to get started, and let's not wait for another day. So we made this decision early this morning today. Kind of organize a forum like this where we can talk things that relate to youthful members. We project that more friends will come, and we'll continue to nurture and encourage each other and inspire and mentor each other.
Yeah.
I think the lessons you have shared also even apply to the rest of us who are not unmarried or early married. The principles are applicable across board about the attitude we form, the dependence on God, and the seeking of support from friends and colleagues, and being proactive when we go about life, as opposed to just waiting or hoping that things will get better. is really greatly appreciating. For the rest of the youth, I think we will get again together and agree what topics we can cover next Sabbath and subsequent. I suggest that be free to post and send to me or to Rogers and any other leader about any thoughts. Let's discuss in our WhatsApp group. I had the question of proposal writing being mentioned. You did mention earlier on in your presentation. And I've been asked a few times by a few people to talk about my experiences with proposal writing and how to thrive in that. I'm very happy to share my experience and the lessons I've learned over the last several years. My success rate on proposal has significantly grown, probably somewhere around 50-60% of the proposals.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
I've learned many tricks, which I think can be very useful to others, and not just to the youth, but generally to anyone who wants to pursue proposals. That's probably how to sum it up and say, if we don't have any topic we can deal with next Sabbath, I'm more than happy to pick up the topic around proposals and grants and things like that.
Amen. That would be wonderful. That would be welcome. Very much welcome, and we kickstart our youth in this good endeavor. And I think that's one area where they need to start from the basics and then grow up. We want them to take over from you.
Thank you. I look
support
forward.
you.
I really look forward to some people taking over.
Yeah, when you retire, because as of now you are young.
I'm still in the field, sijachoka.
Yeah, you're still in the field, going strong. Grateful, grateful, brother.
Asante.
That's been a good sharing platform.
Yeah.
Let's keep in touch, and at some point, I'll also be able to talk about self-reliance on opportunities and so on in the future. So I think that one for next Sabbath we can pick out on proposal writing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah.
Plan for it. Maybe I would ask Agre to lead us in the closing song, and then maybe we can have Orpa or Orpa, maybe you can give any remark and then close in prayer.
Hello.
Agre will do.
Yes, Agre and Liflin can organize for the closing song.
Pardon?
Which song?
Yes, we'll do a closing song. I'm just suggesting that Agre stroke Liflon guide us on a closing song, and then Orpa can give any closing remark and prayer.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, Agre.
Yeah. So I'm not prepared with the song, so let me see one. We can sing song number